defence. They've got the numbers down there. And now a chance for Fraser Murphy. Breaks away, goes goalward, and gets it. Did it brilliantly. There's the siren. And Carlton are premiers for 1987. An outstanding performance.
Carlton, the Blue Bloods of the VFL, in typical winning mood. Unfortunately for Blue supporters, this season has been depressingly different. If Carlton loses to Hawthorn today, it will have lost 5 out of 5 this year, the club's worst start to a premiership in more than 100 years. As Stephen Phillips reports, the panic bells are ringing.
Excuse the flickering black and white footage. Spare a thought for the elegant headgear of the day. But the fact is that you have to go back some 90 years to find a Carlton side that has started the VFL season so abysmally. This is the Carlton most fans know and love. A side that was resurrected by the coaching mastery of Ron Barassi in the late 60s, that won the flag in 1968, that soared with its star player Alex Jezelenko on the way to victory in 1970, and continued on with flag after flag. 15 premierships, the most by any league side, and 7 of them have come since the Barassi Spark revival 21 years ago.
It's human nature to relax a bit when you're doing it well, and I can think of only one team in the last club in the last 50 years that hasn't suffered the fat cat syndrome after a lot of success, and that's Hawthorn. So if it's happened to Carlton, well, they'd be one of many clubs it's happened to.
In 1989, the Blues have been disastrous. They've lost their first 4 matches of the season, and today are poised to make it a record equalling 5 on end when they meet reigning premiers Hawthorn at VFL Park. A kid called John Georgiadis skittled them with 8 goals when they met Footscray in round 1. Tony Lockett booted 10 against them for St Kilda in round 2. They were thrashed by Geelong a fortnight ago, and on Anzac Day paid the supreme sacrifice against Essendon. They now lie 13th on the 14-team ladder. Nothing, it seems, has gone right for the Blues, and there have been people baying for blood.
Carlton are classed as the filthy rich football team of the league, and people, particularly Australians, seem to have a great habit of knocking the tall poppy off all the time.
Percy Jones is an ex-player, a former coach, a committeeman, and a Carlton publican with his finger on the local pulse.
I hear from the Itais and the Greeks, and they're always involved up at Carlton, and you know, I have a word to people around here, and they're really upset, and they say, "What's going on at Carlton?" I say, "Well, it is one of those things."
This is the heart and soul of Carlton, Lygon Street, with its trattorias, its bistros and its restaurants. Right along the street, there's a strong Italian influence, but the thread here is Carlton, the Carlton Football Club, its woes and its fortunes.
What's wrong with him? I'm not too sure. Hope nothing drastic.
Maybe it's the coach, maybe it's the players.
I think there's trouble inside.
They're not playing good, I don't know why, but
it could be just having a bit of a spell.
Chairman of the match committee and former fullback Wes Lofts has been singled out for criticism. And of course, at the first sign of trouble, the coach, Robert Walls, found his neck on the block, despite the fact that in 3 seasons he's finished 2nd, 1st and 3rd. The club turned to former Australian rugby union coach Alan Jones for motivation last weekend.
I think the worst aspect of that sort of pressure is the quick judgments that the media make and the public make. They're all slapping you back when you win, and you go under for 2 or 3 weeks, and the knives are out, and they're after everyone from, I suppose, John Elliott to the coach to the players, and that's unjustified, and the players have got to learn to cope with that.
Carlton might have always been a working-class suburb, but the men who run this 125-year-old football club are anything but. At the helm is President John Elliott, the hard-nosed businessman who heads the corporate giant Elders IXL. He's a man not accustomed to losing at anything.
We don't tolerate losses for long periods of time, and because we all group together and because we realise the whole world's against us, we come up winners. Carlton are not losers for a long period of time.
The club is patronised by the wealthy, and how many football teams are invited to dinner by the Prime Minister after winning a grand final?
Governments in Australia don't help sporting bodies very much. They've got to get out and do it themselves, and I think Carlton have shown a very good example to all of sport in Australia, what they've done.
Carlton has weathered more ferocious storms than this form lapse in recent years. They handle situations with a ruthless ease. They got rid of their favourite son, Alex Jezelenko, and President George Harris when they attempted a reform back in 1980. They replaced David Parkin after the man had coached the club to back-to-back premierships and got rid of Percy Jones after he managed to take the club to only 4th spot in his one season.
They're always looking to find, as you all are, something wrong. There's nothing wrong at all. The only thing wrong is we haven't won the first 4 games. We'll get winning.
The club has a history of producing the big effort when needed, as 18 finals campaigns in the last 21 years attest. And it's worth remembering that back in 1978, the Blues lost 4 of their first 5, then turned around and won 13 of their last 17 matches to play off in September. This year, however, one wonders if the commitment is quite the same.
John Elliott's logic, he should be a politician. Now, here's one person who